record? It's
Yeah.
all about consent. We said we could record now.
Speaking of consent,
Yes.
these really weird condom packages they've made that require 4 people, it requires 4 hands to open. They're called consent condoms. I feel like that's gonna make people use less condoms.
You need 4 people?
No.
Yeah, so it's like you have to pinch down every angle of the box, and you need to pinch it with your fingers, and your finger and your
No,
and
people
your
just
thumb.
people get creative with their manual dexterity. That's all. We're gonna have like crazy spider hands, but you know.
Oh, that's right. We survived the N64 controller.
I think
Yeah, that weird spider controller, crazy nonsense.
I think that just assures you have consent for the use of the condom. I don't think it assures consent for anything else, really.
Holy shit.
When you think about it.
You
Can
know,
we
I
not
don't
go
think-
that dark right now?
I just
Welcome
don't-
to the Whole Rabbit, where we
damn it.
investigate the whole rabbit. Not just the fuzzy tummy, or the long scraggly black nails, the shrimp eyes. We investigate the whole damn rabbit, and today we're talking about dreams.
Sweet.
And today we are joined by Headmaster Rona of the Sleepy Forest Academy. You can find his website at sleepyforestacademy.com. Hello, Rona.
Hi. Yeah, you guys got me back, and I'm actually really glad to be here on this this podcast again, because we're going to be talking about dreams, and I feel like it's a really good chunk of information to actually tie into my first episode of my first class, which is also going to be dropping this week. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me again.
You're
Well,
welcome.
thank you for being here with us again after we kind of just made an ass of ourselves on the last show. So thank you, Rona.
It's all about forgiveness.
Yeah, man, we're learning how to do this podcast thing because we have no idea what we're doing.
No, it's fine. I promised my classes would be out in like February. It's April. I feel terrible, but You know,
that seems to be the thing with magic classes. You say they're going to come out at a certain time, and, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. That goes for every magic class.
broad subject.
It is. It is, and you gotta try to find a way to teach it right. And this is really the episode we should have done instead of the one we did last week about sigils, because, well,
Sigils are a bit of a deep dive.
it's a bit of a deep dive. We should really start with dreams. What are dreams? Are they just something that happens randomly while you're asleep? Is it your brain just sorting through all the memories of the day and figuring out what's important and what's not? Is it just random firings of your neurons and it's completely random what you dream? I don't seem to think so. I think it's something a bit deeper. What do you guys think?
Well, from my experiences,
I'm just gonna drop it on you guys.
Seems to be like a whole world around you, of like a dream realm, that we all penetrate into. But if you penetrate deep enough, you seem to see other people who are there. The old trope of lucid dreaming, as they call it, and being aware in dreams.
I feel like lucid dreaming is bringing your astral body to this plane, though. I feel like dreaming when you go to sleep, depending on what religion or what culture you're looking into, can be anything from just, like you said, firings of the brain, or even down to your brain sorting through what you did through the day. So it really depends on where you look, and it's a really broad subject. I personally think that dreams are you projecting yourself up one level into the astral while your body is recovering. And I'll go more into that later. But
well, in Kabbalah, it's said that Yesod, the foundation, is the realm of dreams that you escape to. According to that, that's one step closer to the Godhead, so you would have a clearer stream of the light or the energy that supposedly would vivify and heal you. So, according to Kabbalah, that's why you would dream, because that you're getting more of the direct juice.
the direct juice. How long can you go without that direct juice? Do you know?
Google says you can go 11 days without sleep. That's the longest recorded amount of time. Pretty much, then you die. or something. I
It got really dark after that part of the Google.
yeah, I took
There's a
you
little
know, like
document-
the basic psych classes in college, and they all told me that after a week or two, you pretty much died. If you are completely deprived of sleep, that your organs will start failing and stuff. So that's what they told me in college. It seems a little bit harder to pin down on Google though, to like make them actually say, "Oh, you will die after this amount of time." But
there's
it's not good.
There's like a documentary about a Yugoslavian or Czechoslovakian man or something. He's like some like Eastern European guy who basically had a weird condition where he couldn't fall asleep. I think he lasted for like a couple months, but it was pretty bad from what I saw.
Well, considering you start hallucinating after, what was it, 3 days?
Yeah, they say even as much as 2 days you could start hallucinating. 2 to 4, I think it is.
I think like not only does the body need rest, but the mind needs rest as well, and perhaps like our logical functions need time to like shut down. And it's not like we stop thinking, like we're constantly on. Like it's not like we fall asleep and we just stop working. Like our body's still functioning, so like the mind's got to do something.
The brain actually functions, what was it, 11 times faster while you're asleep than when you're awake.
Oh wow.
That's probably why it generates all those wild images.
I had a dream last night of well, it was weird. I was like talking to this dude, and then it started skipping. It was like bap 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 bap, but it was really creepy. Like I was watching some haunted video, but the haunted video was my dreams. And then I tried to break out of it, and then I saw this like on a dark background, this like shadow of Yoda, but he only had one eye. And I was like, "No, get away!" And I like forced myself awake as much as I could. It was pretty scary. I don't want to see one-eyed Yoda again.
Did you interpret that? A lot of cultures actually like to interpret
I
dreams.
love to interpret dreams. I don't really, for some reason, I didn't try and interpret this one because it's, well, I mean, one-eyed Yoda. Okay.
What would you look up in a dream book? You can go to Barnes & Noble, anywhere. There's probably apps. There's no doubt apps on the Google Play Store somewhere.
Is it like a one-sided teacher?
I mean, probably. But you consider your dream, you pick a word, you look it up. It's like a dream dictionary or your dream app. And you like, what does this mean in a dream? And they'll say, or maybe you just had to go to the bathroom. Or
Oh, because I've had dreams where I'm just drinking like gallons of water. And then I just wake up thirsty as fuck. And I think everyone's had the dream where your teeth fall out.
Oh, dude, those are the worst. Those are the worst. I used to have those all the time. Those are like...
You get
those
those,
really
like...
make you brush your teeth. Like, it really fucks with your psyche.
what is this, Delta what now? Who's the first answer?
The first answer is like on Google. It's from Delta Dental. That's some propaganda. They just trying to make you, they're just trying to make you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
That's propaganda right
But,
there.
Here's the dream dictionary, water dream dictionary, about, drinking water. A dream in which you're drinking water to quench your thirst symbolizes finding replenishment and balance in a relationship.
Oh, wow.
A dream of drinking dirty water signifies that you are unhappy as a result of that emotional
That's
bond.
gross.
And the relationship has started to poison who you believe you are.
I would never drink dirty water in a dream either. That's gross.
from what I've heard and read is having the dreams where your teeth fall out means you're not in control of your life, or you don't feel like you're in control of your life.
On Bustle, it says you've been struggling with an inferiority complex. You might be worried about saying the wrong thing. Someone in your family could be sick. You're not feeling great about your appearance. The thought of getting older scares you. This is all
It's
pretty...
like the broadest freaking net I've ever.
Those
It's
are
like,
dumb.
here's
Yeah.
some stuff that it could be, and here's some everyday stuff
Money
that everyone
issues
does.
stressing
Yeah.
you out. That's like just generic problems. That's a bunch of bullshit.
To be fair...
WebMD's like, dreaming about this? You died a week ago.
You gotta go to dream dictionaries, dude.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all the stuff about teeth is related to Saturn in Kabbalah, and Saturn has to do with limitation, death, old age, all the stuff that's unpleasant, which is kind of what all these dreams are about. It's all about anxiety about stuff like that, like making big decisions.
Have you ever had
People getting sick,
Have you ever had those dreams where you're like riding a bike and you just fall over, and it's just like a quick Jessel.
Oh, those are the shit. Those are awesome. Okay, yeah, those are... No, okay, I know there's a lot of people who say that they hate that, but that is by far my favorite part about falling asleep. Sometimes I'll try and catch myself right before I go into REM, that really deep sleep, rapid eye movement, and just jolt yourself awake.
You can catch yourself and do weird stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. You can control every part of going to... Yes, you can.
That's incredible.
The problem is getting to that point.
Yeah, once you can, like, recognize where you're at, like, you come up with, like, techniques to do things. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, I could...
Well, how do you guys do it?
Yeah, so, like, when I was a little kid, I figured out how to, like, once I realized I was in a dream, I would basically just tuck my legs up, and then I would start doing, like, the breaststroke through the air.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I could just, like, swim through the air. And that's how I started doing things. And, like, actually started, like, lucid dreaming, I guess, which would be, like, the first thing I figured out how to do.
Next thing I know, I'm just talking to a sandwich. I don't really have a transition.
I want to know what that means.
It means that I completely just lose all willpower the second any sort of sleep creeps into my life. I just immediately go straight to the nonsense. I don't have any awareness that I'm in a dream. My dreams don't even really make sense. I can still, one of the first dreams I remember, do you guys ever remember watching a live action Super Mario show?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, it was a movie.
No, not the movie. It was a TV show.
I remember that.
Rona remembers.
I remember it because it had the words to the Super Mario theme song. It has words.
And I know this thing exists because I accidentally stumbled upon it while trying to find something for my daughter on Netflix, and there it was. And, like, shot for shot, I remember having a nightmare straight out of the intro to this show. I just remember, like, looking out of my crib, and there's, like, Mario. And he's like, he's all like, like when you're trying to rile up a dog and you're like, ha, attack. You know what I mean? And you like kind of squat down, your arms go out. I don't know how to say it. Like Mario's like, he's all like that. And he's all like talking super duper fast at me. And then next thing I know, I'm like getting lifted up out of my crib. And I'm being like pulled towards the wall. And then I'm like sucked down into the world between like the wall and the crib, like down
fucking wild.
Down into the Underdark.
I don't even know where to begin looking up that dream.
And then I remember I went to a place where like all of the furniture in my house was talking, kind of like in Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, dude, that's insane.
Nobody watching this is gonna maybe.
And like the spoon was talking, and the couch, and like my bib was talking. It was wild.
You had that when you were a child?
I remember that. Yeah, I was like 3.
But
I was like
you gotta
3 or
remember
4.
that Luke doesn't
or
dream
younger,
like
maybe.
normal people. Like Luke has like...
They're really surreal dreams. I have
But,
really
like,
surreal dreams.
There's some dreams that you remember, right? But like you mostly don't like have like, oh, that was a weird one.
I have to struggle really hard to remember my dreams. So I'm like everyone else. I have to just write it down as fast as I can.
Oh yeah, that's the death of all dreams. Oh my God, not writing it down, real and otherwise.
I did not write down the Yoda dream. I still remember it though.
Write it down, dude.
That was scary, man.
Well, at this point, he has it like. Recorded.
If you write it down, you make it real.
It wasn't like all bloody.
Oh yeah.
It was just like if he had popped out a glass eye and it was just all smooth under there. But it was weird. It was the feeling that he was emitting. It wasn't Yoda-like. It was more like, like Kylo Ren or Sidious or, you know what I mean? It was like a bad feeling.
Darth Vader sounds cool as fuck, dude.
I don't like it. But no, I've never been able to go lucid, but I always wish that I could. The few times I have, I remember flying through a city and being tripped out, being like, how's my brain filling in all this detail? This makes no sense to me. And then I woke up because I was so excited.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst part is, like, getting too focused in a dream, and then you wake up because you're hitting waking consciousness.
I've heard of people on other podcasts. The host of Where Did the Road Go, Soraya, talks about dreams where he'll get stuck in a cycle of waking up. Has that ever happened to you guys?
Oh, God. Yes. You stop.
That's happened to both of you guys?
Okay, so
never happened
the technical term is called phantom waking, where you wake up, you go through your day, you go to sleep, and you wake up, and you realize, oh, okay, that was a dream. So you go through your day, and you'll notice something is maybe the same, but you'll go to sleep, and then you'll wake up being like, oh, snap, that was a dream. Wait, but that last one was a dream too, kind of like the movie Inception, a dream within a dream within a dream. That's essentially what it is. But it can cause such fear of waking up. You never know when you're going to wake up and do the same thing again. I got stuck in a 4-day cycle where I lived the same day 4 times.
You did?
Oh yeah, and then I actually woke up and lived the day. And I was terrified of every detail, but I went to sleep and woke up and it was a new day. It's
that
like
actually
something out of
happened to you,
fucking
dude?
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, you had Groundhog's Day. That's
And I
pretty
remember,
great.
I can almost remember to the detail everything that happened that day.
How do you know it didn't actually happen?
Well, it did, because I woke up eventually and lived that day.
But how do you know the other ones weren't real?
So that's where it gets really weird. That's where that weird bend starts to happening. And that, my friends,
Did you
is where...
fly? Or like...
No, it was a completely normal day. Like,
Then how do you know it wasn't real?
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I know when my dreams are weird because weird things happen. Like, I had a dream where, like, I'm trying to get to work and I have this giant pink wristwatch on. And I'm like, what am I doing with this on? I'm going to take it off. So I take it off. And I look at it and I have a big pink wristwatch in my hand and a big pink wristwatch on my wrist. And I'm like, wait, what the hell is going on? Oh, I must be in a dream. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to interact. On the fly.
Yeah, I forced myself awake when my dreams started skipping. I was like, this is not cool. It's like The Ring or something. And I've never had a problem with being able to wake myself up. Whenever I want to wake myself up, I pretty much can. When I was a little kid, I used to just have a method where I would close my eyes really, really hard. And then when I'd open them, I'd be awake.
good. Yeah. Actually, I should post about different techniques on how to wake yourself up, because that's a really good technique to have. There's a lot of books you can actually read about that. And when you get into magic or anything at all, meditation is a big part of it. And a lot of people struggle with falling asleep during meditation. But in that between state, your brain kind of will take over and you might end up either lucid dreaming or astral projecting, or even worse, sleep paralysis. Anybody want to talk for a second about sleep paralysis?
Well, okay, so
I
sleep
used to have
paralysis.
that.
Okay, before we get into sleep paralysis, let's address that first thing we said. How do you, if you want to wake up, what's a good method? Let's talk about that. So my
yourself.
method is close your eyes really hard and then open them. What was your guys' method? Kill yourself, Rona, you said?
I'm just quoting God, Inception.
He's just telling us.
You should never, that's just such a dangerous, like, psychological, just shout out, if you feel like you're in a dream and you want to kill yourself to wake up, go seek actual help. But,
What if you go seek help and it's a fish?
you,
Then
stop. There
can you
are
kill
people
yourself?
out there that we are trying to help.
Oh, there are people that are legitimately crazy and could see a fish when they... I mean,
Yeah.
that's unlikely,
Well,
I guess.
I always have this weird feeling though, like whenever I'm in a dream, I'm like, oh, I can do like an impossible thing. I get a feeling that I can do it, like,
All right.
and then like I do something, like I float, or like that's the one thing I've been trying to do is like for like ever is just float around, like at will, which is always something to do if you try to like if you realize you're in a dream. It's just try to like hover a little.
But let's say you're going to get eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. How do you wake yourself up, Andrew?
Like, you know it's a dream.
You know it's a dream, you're trying to wake yourself up.
like I'm gonna have to think about that.
Do you have a method? Right now, off the top of your head. You're about to get eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, like you actually said the method that I've used for like the
You
longest
just close
time.
your
You
eyes?
close your eyes real hard and you just
Do you have a method, Rona?
stop
Yeah,
interacting.
I used that method. I remember when I was younger that I had this one particular dream where I would be falling off of the side of a cliff, because I remember exactly where the dream came from. My family and I went to, what was that, Mount Whitney, and we went on this hike, and there was this really steep part of the hike, and I've always dreamt about that really steep incline. Conquered that fear, though. Went to Zion, Angels Landing. Dude, fuck that hike. Any case, so
You guys almost died.
Dude, it was so steep. So I would constantly dream about falling, and at first that method did work, closing my eyes and I'd be awake. But eventually I would close my eyes and I would hit the ground, and I would kind of feel it, and my body would jolt awake. So sometimes right at impact you can jolt yourself awake, because that's when your brain will realize, sometimes your brain will notice, okay, this is impact.
Yeah.
And so you can use that to shake your actual body awake. You can reconnect. Because while you're asleep, your body turns off your motor function so that you don't lash around and you hurt yourself. I think it's a design flaw, but
I've totally, yeah, like, I'm sure this has happened to you guys where, like, you wake up, like, taking a step on the stairs or something.
Oh, yeah,
You're like, whoa, I'm awake now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sleepwalking, or when you're in class, those of you who do college.
Oh, man. I woke up when everyone else was gone once in math class.
They just left you, dog.
Yeah, I was all alone, just sleeping.
Just sleeping.
That was freshman year.
Resting your eyes.
Sorry, Mr. Studevant.
Also, if anyone ever says, I'm just resting my eyes, they're fucking lying. Everyone knows you're lying. Just, can we stop using that?
Resting
it's
your
a
eyes
bullshit lie.
You can't rest your eyes.
sleeping.
It means if you're gonna rest your eyes, bye. I guess I'm driving alone. And that's always where it is, right? When you're on the road. It's like, come on, talk to me, dog. I'm just gonna rest my eyes. And then bam, radio silence.
That's the best time to do it. You know, you gotta conk out, make the trip go faster. Fuck whoever's driving, right?
But yeah, and why does the trip go faster? Because your brain is 11. I'm gonna keep saying 11. I should just check on my phone. Time's working 11 times faster, so time on our side goes quicker in the real world. I think I butchered that sentence, but Inception explained it.
You got it
No,
backwards.
Time
Yeah,
in the dream world goes faster than time in...
So is it like Inception? Where you
Some-
can have more time happen in the dream than in...
maybe.
So if you have 1 minute of time asleep, that could be like 1 hour in a dream is what you're saying?
Potentially,
That
yes.
kind of a thing?
Potentially. And the cool thing is, sorry to cut you off there, that I have read of plenty of people who have learned to control their dreams to a point where they can go and do real world things in their dreams that they will remember when they wake up. You'd go to sleep and you'd dream and you'd wake up like in a library or something and you'd study for a math class. And there are different things online you can listen to actually pull yourself there. Sorry.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then you study while you're in your dream?
And then you remember stuff when you wake up. Yeah, that's some pretty high-end controlling of dreams, though.
Yeah. So, like, I remember having, like, a theory about dreams and sleep when I was younger, was that, like, you fall asleep and you go forward in time, because, like, you know, like, you basically sometimes you fall asleep and you just wake up the next day. Is, like, you and your consciousness is somehow forward in time compared to the people who are still awake back in the previous night.
You lost me. One more time?
No, this is like a little kid coming up with some stupid theory about falling asleep. And
Just explain it better.
I don't see how to explain it any more. Like, it was just like I thought people experience time differently.
One
And
time.
it was more determinate based. So, like, you fall asleep,
Yeah.
and then your consciousness is propelled forward in time compared to the people who are still awake when you fell asleep.
Oh.
So you're in the next day.
Oh, wow.
As they're in the past.
There'd be no way for you to know, really.
Exactly.
There's no reason why that's not true either. There's this really cool video on YouTube. Go look it up. CGP Grey. He talks about there's no guarantee that when you go to sleep, you wake up as the same person. And it just gets really, really dark at that point. Because you realize you die.
You do kind of wake up a different person. Like, you can't step in the same river twice kind of thing. You
Okay,
know?
yeah.
So when you die, do you just go to the dream realm? You're just stuck there?
Purgatory? I feel like that's what I originally thought purgatory was. You go to sleep until everyone else is dead.
Well, that's a pain in the ass.
Gives you some time to think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what hell is.
In Kabbalah, you just, like, sit in, like, Binah with everyone.
That's chilling.
Yeah, it's just dark and kind of like everyone understands because no one has to talk because everyone gets it.
While we're on sleep theories, when we were kids, I just remembered mine. I used to think that when you went to sleep, you would die and you'd wake up on the correct timeline. Like, you made a choice somewhere wrong, and when you go to sleep, you jump to the other timeline where you get to live for that day.
Really? That's kind of trippy.
Yeah, like maybe you could die in your sleep every single night and you'd never know it.
That would be like...
Have you guys ever seen Dark City?
No.
I think I have seen Dark City. That's where, like, those creepy weirdos are like floating around the city and it keeps changing.
It came out a year before The Matrix, and when I rewatched it not so long ago, I realized there's like shot for shot
and it just
things.
doesn't have an end, and he's like looking for the beach.
No, it does have an end. Basically, there's no such thing as daytime, and then at some interval in the night, everyone gets turned off, and these aliens come and like inject new memories into these people, and then like turn everyone back on again.
Maybe.
And that's just
They
happening all the
float
time.
around and look like Nazis.
It was creepy. They were aliens that were infesting the bodies of the dead. That's what they were doing.
That's weird.
I mean,
they're
it's
on like a spaceship, right? And he
that's
can control it.
but even the Matrix is a little like that. Like, you know, if you're in the Matrix, you're not really alive. You're kind of dead already, and then you know, an agent can take you over, and it's a very similar idea.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's also a metaphor for society. The whole Matrix and the fake reality.
Yeah, we kind of are living in an imaginary world anyway, right? Like in a sense, like because we're detached from nature, we're sort of living in like a world of abstractions and abstract notions and thoughts. I saw one thing on 4chan which I thought was pretty enlightening. It described the world as like basically the economy is propped up by a bunch of computers all making decisions, and that the economy is almost running itself to a degree. And because we're not really manufacturing anything, we're just producing these narratives. And because we don't have like any mainstream cultural narrative like religion to tie us together, we're basically living in an AI-controlled, culturally imposed narrative of just randomness, almost. You know what I mean?
So
like
the Matrix.
The Matrix, basically, yeah. Like
So you're saying we live in the Matrix already?
Yeah. We already live in the Matrix.
Like a three-dimensional The Matrix.
Well, basically, I think I described that really, really poorly. But the idea is that we got computers back in the day that could kind of predict the markets. And based on those somewhat accurate predictions, other predictions are made. And then it's sort of like an unending chain of predictions.
There's the hook.
Where basically at some point we took our hands off the steering wheel, and more or less the computers are deciding where to put our money, and how we decide to sell products is purely based on the weird illusory narratives we sell people.
Looking into the future.
Yeah,
we've created these computers to look further than we can, so that they can run themselves. You're right.
We got to a point now where you go on Google, you go on Facebook, you're only shown advertisements which are directed directly towards you, and cultural narratives that are directed just towards you. And then we're all becoming like radicalized and segmented out into these like little camps now. So like, I don't know, if the AI is gonna kill us, it's gonna make us kill ourselves. You know.
Maybe it's doing that right now.
I saw a modified. It's that book by Ram Dass, Be Here Now. It was like a Photoshopped version, and it had like SJWs create Nazis, Nazis create SJWs.
Oh, dude, let's talk about like the dream that is the internet. Yeah, dude, like that shit's freaking some weird dream state.
I mean, and some people consider, and I don't disagree with this, that the internet is our collective unconscious, externalized, where we can get at it, basically.
I was thinking about that today too.
Yeah, it's got some weird stuff on there.
The internet is a place where we live a life we want to live. You're right, everything's directed towards us because it makes us happy. We play games like Farmville, living a life that we can't live in the real world, and I feel like that disconnect is pretty dangerous. Like,
we can communicate in all these different ways. You know, there's anonymous communication. You know, there's our social media networks. There's digital games we can play. And
you always get abuse on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like, why be you in this world when you can be like a superhero in here? When there's so many other things the internet, like our collective conscious or the dream state, can do for us.
And I like going around on X, on 4chan now, because you really get an idea of what weird superstitions and ideas people banty about and believe, you know? Like,
everyone's weird. Even the most normal person you know is a little bit weird, because if they're not, they're insane. They're too rigid. Nobody can be that rigid.
I got a really cool psychic reading on X.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that? Like, I'm at In-N-Out Burger, eating my burger, getting a psychic reading from some anon on /X. Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's like super magical. Go back in the past. Like that'd be a hard thing to wrap your head around. Like I'm getting a psychic reading from somebody I'm never gonna meet, that I'm not ever gonna know their name, while I'm eating a burger, you know.
And it was accurate as hell, wasn't it?
It was creepy. I don't even want to talk about it on air because it was just so weird. I learned some information. I learned that I'll tell you, I learned that the Mayan planet of the rabbit is what we would call Venus, which is really, really cool.
So Venus is a rabbit?
Yeah.
The whole rabbit?
Well, according to the
Mayans. Yeah, which is really cool. I really like that idea.
I think the Mayans listen to your podcast, that's why.
And then the rabbit is like best friends to the god of like drunkenness, so they just get drunk and
that would be cool if like
and just
the Mayans
shit talk
did,
all
like,
day.
blood rituals, and they just got the podcast in the past.
There's just Mayans doing blood rituals to listen to the whole rabbit.
Yeah.
Man, they could have picked something better to listen to, you know? Like, why did they pick this?
Probably all they can do.
That's all they could. It's what they tapped into, you know? The giant rabbit in the astral just is what they tapped into with that
how wild
the kooky septagram. They're like, yes, this is the wisdom.
But it's about connectivity. We do want to live that world on the internet. We do want to live in the dream world, but we can't forget that we live in the now. We always wake up, no matter what. So
somebody said once that the internet was I forget who. The internet was our trade-off or our pittance for ruining the planet. Basically, it was the one thing we actually got to achieve. You know, while we destroyed everything else. You know,
that's dark as hell, but I love it.
We haven't
it's
destroyed it. We're just not doing it right. And we gotta just not desert it.
Say that after watching One Earth on Netflix. Oh my god.
Oh, I bet
It's
scary.
It's the ice caps are melting and no one cares.
Yeah,
and
we all gonna die.
Yeah, they melt and then they freeze over and then they
Yeah.
melt and then they freeze over. It's
Yeah,
a thing
but
that
they're not
happens every
freezing
year.
over big enough and fast enough, and these big mammals are jumping off cliffs, and everyone's sad about it. What did you pull up?
Yeah, that's
Get off of that.
Yeah, dude, don't look down the freaking
It's just like a
4chan
bipedal.
hole.
It's just like a bipedal dolphin on a.
Don't look down the 4chan
It's
hole.
a black hole.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I love it. It's the abyss. It stares back sometimes. It's really entertaining.
It is. It's the collective conscious. You're right.
So-
it's a bunch of people.
When I was a little kid, I found a caterpillar, and I stuck the caterpillar in a jar, and I put a leaf in there with a twig, and I don't know if I put any food in there, but I put the jar like in a drawer or something in the kitchen, and then like I came back later, and I found that in the jar was a cocoon, right? And then I was like, oh wow, it formed a cocoon. It didn't like just die. You know, and my parents were astounded that it hadn't just died. It formed a cocoon, and I set it out after that, and we kind of watched this moth come out of the cocoon, and I let it go. And when I let it go, I was like the most upset, sad little kid in the whole world. I was like so sad. I had to let my moth friend go. I was just like beside myself. I was just like crying, and no one could console me. Later that night, I went to bed, and I had a dream that the moth came back and visited me, and we hung out. And the moth was huge. It was like the tick.
Why would you use that analogy?
Because it was like that. It was like
so-
big.
so-
It was
so-
taller than me. It was
So
like
you're friends with the Mothman, is what you're saying.
I never really thought of it
Yeah,
that way.
the moth is literally telling you to wake up.
Well, I hope
You let the
this-
moth go and it came back. I think you might have died that night because the
I might
moth
have. This-
is a symbol of, trust your waking life. Go back.
Wow. Well, I felt so bad about my moth going away, but then it came and visited me, and then I felt for a really long time like I had been visited by my friend. You know? You guys ever had like a weird closure dream before?
Oh, dude, I've had weird dreams where I'm like hiking around the mountains with like an Indian dude, and we're like best buds from like old times.
Really?
Riding
Yeah,
around the mountains with
Yeah.
my
That's a
best
great
friend.
dream.
Yeah, it's like the weirdest fucking dream, and I was just like, I see this guy, and I'm like, this is my fucking friend, just know it.
I got nothing. I
Yeah.
can barely remember the majority of my dreams. I'd like to say that I've marked a lot of them down, but it's something I've always told myself I was going to do and never did.
Oh, like I can remember like a lot of
I can remember like 7 or 8 of my good ones. And some of them I'm not sure are dreams or reality. That's the scary thing. Some of them feel really real.
You get weird stuff. Like you've seen your own doppelganger before.
We don't talk about that day. That day never happened.
Oh,
that part's getting deleted. It never happened.
Dude,
are you Rona? Are you listening to this podcast right now and you're not Rona?
God, wow. It was okay. Nope, it never happened.
It's legitimately, this is unsettling for you. Oh, no, wait, we can't talk about this yet. Maybe we need a special episode about doppelgangers.
Yeah, let me just cope with the fact, because it's never good. Look it up. Every single story
fine.
you hear about. Yeah, am I the same Rona? Do you know?
No.
All right.
But maybe the other Rona got something bad happen to him.
Then I feel bad for him, because if I die at some point, who's going to know that I don't be reborn as that Rona? And then
speaking of doppelgangers,
only love.
There's like that Shell station over by your house is like, I swear it used to be like a fracture in time that you would see everyone's doppelganger only in like the distant future.
Oh, weird.
You know, you'd be like, oh wow, that's him and her all old together.
I've heard that. A lot of people will say that like 7-Elevens, hospitals, and like car lots are like that at night. If you're just driving around, you'll see your like people who look strangely like people you know in the future.
Yeah, if I saw my actual doppelganger, I'd be freaked out. To be honest, it's such a strange phenomena. That's why I like questioning you about it. Did that really happen, man? You saw you? It's creepy, man. Yeah, you talk about it. You don't talk about it. Okay.
Our buddy saw you like
Really?
a couple weeks ago.
How do you know it wasn't me?
He thought it was you, and he tried to get a hold of you. Like he was all like, "Hey, Luke."
What would have been really scary is if the person turned around and said, fucking...
Or it just had like tentacles for a face or
No,
something.
he had the same car and everything.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
No.
Yeah, reality's BS.
Dream sharing would be fun. A lot of people have claimed that they've learned how to dream share like in Inception, but...
So you're like meeting up and hanging out with people in your lucid dream state?
Yeah, that would be like the idea. Is like so you can do that.
It's like a LAN-party.
Yeah, basically, it's like a dreaming land.
Who's
party.
doing that? Like who's doing that?
I
I'm
miss
jealous.
LAN-parties. Those were fun.
Well,
You just duct tape yourself to the ceiling, you know? I hope some of you know what the hell I'm talking about. So apparently, if you dream about being naked in public, it means that you're afraid of revealing your imperfections and shortcomings.
Oh, yeah, that dream. Everyone has that dream.
If you're being chased, it might be afraid that you're haunted by a past relationship or likely something from the past. I've always heard that if you're being chased by something in the dream, you should stop and turn around and face it.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually gotten better at doing that in a lot of my dreams recently. I'd normally, in dreams where I'd have to fight, I'd feel like I'd be running more often or trying to avoid conflict. But as of late, I've just been like, I don't care. Like, it's a dream. Why would I be scared in my own dream? It's my dream. If you die in the dream, you die in real life. That's never happened. Well, no. Can we not look that up? Nobody look that up. I forbid it. That's information you should never have.
Ron's not really sure if he's awake
Have you ever,
or
like,
asleep
breathed
or alive or
underwater?
dead.
Dude, magic is so weird, though. Like, what if we are all just asleep? After hearing in my religious anthropology class, shout out to Gigi, I remember her teaching that a lot of cultures actually would go on these sleep fasts to reach an altered state of consciousness and all dream together and then just talk about what they saw. I've always wanted to try that. We should try that sometime. Just like not go to sleep for 3 days and then just hallucinate.
That's like the cheapest drug.
Just no sleep. It is the cheapest drug, but it's scary.
I don't think I could do it. I think I'd fall asleep.
There are. I remember I had to drive a friend home, and it was a 4-hour drive. And on my way back, I kept hallucinating because I was falling asleep. That there were shrubs in the road, so I eventually had to pull over and just take a nap. But yeah, it's dangerous. If you're gonna try it, make sure you don't have anything to do, anywhere to go, and you have somebody who has had sleep to monitor you.
Yeah, because my dreams are so weird that I remember coming back from Rock the Bells, where I saw like Wu-Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine. It was such a good show, and I was so effing tired. I at one point while I was driving home, I remember I remember the thing that made me pull over. It was I was talking to a snake, but
Yes.
but it wasn't a snake. It was actually just the streetlights as they were passing.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, all right, I cannot drive anymore. Like, I am talking to snakes. Like, I had to like slap myself and pinch myself, like, just to find a Denny's or whatever, just to get the car pulled over. Because I was that almost asleep. I haven't been that super tired while driving Uber, but sometimes certain people will get in the car and I'll just get super sleepy. And then when they get out, I'm not sleepy anymore. I don't know what that is, but
energy vampires.
It happens sometimes.
It's a thing, dog.
Oh, you know what happens sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of people deal with this problem and they don't really think about it. Work dreams.
Oh, work dreams.
Like, have you ever had dreams where you're at work? Because I get those, like, all the time.
I get dreams where somebody fucks up my rating on Uber or Lyft. And then I wake up and have to check my rating. Or make sure that nobody reported me for something that I didn't do.
Imagine a work dream where you phantom woke and you just went to work for 4 days before having to go to work.
Oh my god.
I think I'd rather just die.
Like, and you're like at work.
That's where those
things are in the wrong place.
That's where those techniques are gonna come in handy. We gotta post. They have to be posted. Just wake
Yeah.
up.
In fact, one thing I've been doing is actually learning how to get out of work dreams lately, because I don't want to deal with those.
I hear one way to wake yourself up is a rollover. Like, try and roll over.
You gotta really do the inception thing. I've noticed is try to remember how you got to the position you're in. So if you're at work, try to remember how you got to work that day. So what you do is you really just try to look into the past, and you'll see yourself in your bed, relaxed. You'll feel your cushions and blankets and stuff.
And that's the tilt.
Yeah, that's
You'll
where
feel your body start rushing back.
Yeah, and that's you're semi-awake, like you're waking up kind of, and then that's when you can decide to either interact or not. Do you want to work for your company when you're not getting paid?
That's like your
astral body's working for them.
Yeah, that's messed up. You're a slave even in your dreams to your work. That's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even escape them in your dreams.
I'm glad I don't have too many work dreams like that. So one thing we touched on really early in the episode, I think it was you, Andrew. You talked about dreams being a collective space. And I sort of feel like we take this for granted, and I wish maybe we had talked about this a little earlier on the show. But the reason that dreams are important, or at least I believe they're important, is because I really buy into the idea of the collective unconscious. That we are all at least similar enough in biology and in evolution that there are certain symbols that have a universal meaning, at least to certain parts of our mind, especially in our subconscious or our unconscious. So, generally speaking, if you see a snake, it probably means, like, danger. You know, if you see a snake, it means you should be aware. Or if you see...
The sound of water, having to go to the bathroom is one. We got to hear from you guys. What do you guys see in dreams?
Yeah, what kind of weird dreams do you guys have? I guess I have one story I have to wrap it up. I guess our dreams episode just sort of descended into stories.
What about UFOs?
That's all dreams are, just stories.
Like
I guess
people
so.
report getting abducted in their dreams.
So
like that's
so
like a common trope in the UFO.
Okay, so that's the thing. You can be abducted in your dreams.
Apparently.
That makes perfect sense to me. Oh yeah, we really didn't talk about sleep paralysis at all.
Because I used to get sleep paralysis and then it stopped, dude.
Let's talk about that for let's talk about that for a little bit. So explain what your sleep paralysis experience was like, Andrew.
Okay, so my sleep paralysis is very typical from what I've read and heard about it. I'm stuck in my bed, and it's like the blankets are like, made of lead or something way heavier.
Can you see? Can you see stuff in your room?
Yes, I can see stuff in the room, and there's always like this character.
Can you move your eyes?
Yes.
But
like,
you can't really move your arms.
Or anything else. And there's always like this black, gray character that's there. And it's always like this person. And sometimes it looked like my brother. And then other times it was unrecognizable. And it's just like...
Did he have a costume on or a hat or anything?
No, it just seemed very black.
Okay.
Not like a hat or a costume. More of just there and creepy and like looking stern. And always in the corner. Always in a corner. It's like the creepiest thing, just sitting there in a corner, just staring at you. It's like you're trying to scream for help and it's just looking at you, but you can't.
See, now that's a pretty classic experience. There's a documentary called The Nightmare, And it's actually the same person that made the documentary Room 237, which we talked about on our first episode. Also, highly recommend The Nightmare because it's basically people's stories about sleep paralysis. It is fairly common where people basically get stuck in that part of sleep where they're not quite awake and they're not quite asleep, but they are awake and they can't quite move. And people typically do experience shadow people, like what you're saying. Some of them experience really scary shadow people, like ones with red eyes. A popular one is the shadow person with the top hat. He likes to accompany underlings, and I've heard that story pretty frequently.
That sounds like an abduction.
And it really becomes a question about, is it an abduction or is it not? There's a song. If you've ever seen the first season of True Detective, the theme song is by a group called the Handsome Family. And on that same album that song is on, there's another song called Sleepy, I think, or maybe Sleepless. I can't remember what it's called, but you'll find it near the end of the album, and it's all about basically being abducted by these black figures with eyes of polished stone. It's a really great song because it's like folksy, bluesgrassy. I'm really not a country person, so I really have no idea what I'm talking about. But you get the impression that, like, if you had that experience, you might not want to talk to people about it. Like, if you got abducted in your dream by some really scary black figure and taken through the roof and maybe got poked or prodded or even, you might not want to talk about it. Like, if you're getting terrified by things in the night, you're not necessarily going to tell people. And I don't know. I got that from the song. So there's probably lots of people that have sleep paralysis and just don't talk about it, you know?
Well, if you want to tie it back into what we were talking about with going to a different plane, some people believe that when you dream, you go to that higher plane. When you are stuck in sleep paralysis, you're still half in, half out. So you're seeing things from that astral plane, even though you're awake. So you're in your waking body, but your mind is in the astral, and that's what you're seeing.
So you're seeing stuff that's in the astral. You know, that's how Lon-Milo Duquette describes it. He has a really eloquent description of that world. Pretty much goes like this, where we live in the densest part of the universe, the material world. Everything above that is the astral. Well, the part of the astral that the material world is rubbing up against is the densest part
of the astral.
Like, think of the bottom of a fish tank. It's like where all the husks and shells go.
And that's us, right?
Before they deteriorate. Well, that's the level of the astral right above the material.
All right.
And
right above us.
And what Lon-Milo Duquette says in Low Magic is most people take what he says, an elevator, straight up to the higher worlds when they dream. But sometimes if you eat too much quiche, you know, maybe you smoke too much weed.
Drink apple juice. Apple juice does it for so many people.
Really?
Yes. Like Mott's apple juice. Before bed, you'll have the craziest fucking drink.
I'm gonna try that. We're not even sponsored, but we should be, Mott's.
No, you gotta put crystals
Here's looking
underneath
out.
your bed.
Mott's.
Or underneath your pillow.
Mott's.
Or a dream catcher.
Send us some juice boxes and some crystals.
Yeah, use all your hippie tricks. That's what they're there for.
That's what we do. But
wave some crystals at it.
You can if you're.
Oh, where were we?
Calories.
Okay, so that world is like the bottom of a fish tank. It's like the graveyard where, and basically he says like people are shedding their astral bodies like you shed your skin. So, and this is where spirits can come in and take the form of people in your life or people in your surroundings because they can literally put on your skin and like, oh, I'm your grandma. You know, it's just like one of the old ones that just wants to suck your chi out of your belly button or something. Typically, what Lon-Milo Duquette says is that world is like inhabited usually by like bums in your neighborhood. And neighborhood no good nicks. That's a typical thing is they'll be running around and trying to break into your house, and that's a really common nightmare for him is to have people trying to break into his house, but it's really just like these little astral beings, if you could even call them that, because
cleanse your room often.
Yeah,
sage it, ward it, salt lines.
So yeah, sleep tight. You know, the astral world right above ours is a graveyard. You know, full of like undead shells that like have, you know, no soul.
Uncle Pete, is that you?
like, yes, it's me. Give me your blood.
They can't, can they? Okay, everyone's
You
probably
have
having a meltdown.
You have to give it to me.
Can they affect us on this plane? Can dream beings affect us on this plane?
Well, I guess that's where I think we're gonna get into it right before we wrap it up. I think yes. I think things in the dream plane can affect us, but you can always assert your boundaries, and I think you can always call upon a higher power. Like in the nightmare, one lady is just getting mercilessly harassed by these things, and she calls upon the power of Jesus Christ, and the name has power over these things and makes them go away. So that's one thing you can do. You can call upon the power of Jesus Christ, and
Dude, worship multiple gods. Call on anyone you just like. If Jesus Christ don't work, be like, okay, what's that other dude? Who's the dude from Scientology?
L. Ron Hubbard.
Dude, then bam.
Xenu.
Elon Musk, save me.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Elon, save me!
Names have power. Banish your demons with names. Aunt Jemima.
Get banished with...
Banish my stale pancakes with...
I mean, in the end, it's a dream. At a point, you will learn how to control your dreams. You can. Your dreams are like any other part of your body. And once you learn to control it, you could probably have fun with it. You should probably do a...
I can't, 'cause I don't know when I'm dreaming. But the biggest impact a dream has ever had on me, and it sort of made me believe in some of this like far out stuff. When I was a little kid, I would hang out with my best friend, Eric. And we just like hung out all the time. When we got older, like we picked up playing guitar, and Eric's older brother Scott was really good at guitar, and he spent a lot of time playing it. And me and Eric would like goof around and record stuff on our like 4-track mixer and make little songs. And we'd be like in the middle of one, and Scott would come home all stoned, and he'd be like, "Hey man, let me see." And he would like take the guitar from us, be like, "Hey, just leave the room for a second." And he would just like wail out the craziest like solo, and it would just be like wicked as shit. And then he'd be like, "All right, guys, finish the track." And then like we'd go finish the track, and then when it was done, it would be like our like really dumb like verse and like chorus and whatever. And then it'd just be like this like fucking wicked as shit like Jimi Hendrix solo like right in the middle. And Scott would bring home all his friends. He'd be like, "Hey man, this is my little brother's tape. Listen to this shit."
Wait,
And then he'd show his friends, and then it would get to like the great solo part, and like he'd be like, "Yeah, man, my little brother's pretty good, huh?" You know what I mean?
Okay, so he wasn't dicking around. He just like added his crazy solo into it.
Yeah. His whole thing was like, if you weren't improvising it, it wasn't a solo. It wasn't legit unless you made it up off the tip of your ass, basically. And it was the same thing with freestyling too. He would freestyle about snatching bitches' purses and shooting at the cops and shit like that, stuff like that. Scott's not with us anymore. He didn't make it. He died on Halloween. I don't remember what year, but he didn't make it. I actually found out while I was watching The Exorcist, which is really fucked up. Made that movie a little scarier. Yeah. So like, rest in peace, Scott. He's been gone for a long time. But when we were smaller, Scott would always call Eric Wedge. Nobody knew why. Like, there was like a really weird name to call your little brother Wedge. You know, I don't know. At the time I didn't know why. I don't know if they did either. Like, his family had a reason, but I remember one night. It was many years later. I woke up and I was on Endor, and there was a whole bunch of like, what are the Ewoks?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of little Ewoks. Scott's whole family was there, like his mom and his dad and his little sister and Eric's wife and his kid was there. And Scott was there too, but he was younger. He was like, 5 or 6 years younger than he was when he died, and he looked like really good and really healthy. And he like walked up to me and he said, like, "Everything's fine here. I'm happy. I'm with my family." And when I woke up, I immediately understood why he always called Eric Wedge. Because I'm Luke, and Eric was my co-pilot, like in A New Hope, or like in the Star Wars movie. And when I had that experience, I was like, oh, dreams are real. Like, oh, this shit's real. Okay, like people can you can communicate with spirits and whatever through the dreams or whatever. So that was the dream experience that kind of like woke me up, I guess, to the dream world.
The dream experience that woke you up. Very nice wordsmith there.
Yeah, and then
that's a good turn of phrase.
There you go, turn of phrase.
And then I picked up the tarot, and I don't, tarot's got a bunch of symbols in it.
Bunch of dream symbols you see in your
You see,
dreams.
like if I could go lucid, you could like pull up a tarot card and like put it on a door, and then like walk through the door, and then you'd like be in the world of the tarot card. But since I can't go lucid, I've never got to do that.
Oh, dude, Terrence McKenna says that if you smoke DMT, you can like do DMT in your dreams.
What?
And it works.
You don't even have to spend money on drugs?
Yeah,
you could just do drugs in your dreams?
Yeah, apparently that's what he says. It does like the same thing because it's. I guess you can do the same. You can manifest the same experience, and so you're not physical.
Some people use their dreams to study as well.
Yeah.
Just gonna save that from the DMT. As I.
Llama Kid also says to never take any food or drink from a dead person in a dream, because you might not wake up necessarily. He doesn't say you won't wake up, but he says like you definitely shouldn't do
I
it.
feel like you just shouldn't take food from dead people, period. I mean, look what happened to Persephone. She got stuck, bro.
Yeah, don't eat in your dreams.
Persephone, she got stuck.
She got stuck, bro.
And you should listen to your dreams. Don't be like Caesar and ignore his wife and his wife's dreams, because she knew he was going to die.
Yeah, dude, Pharaoh listened to his dreams.
Beware the Ides of March, you know? Wait, who listened to dreams?
Pharaoh.
The Pharaoh?
Which
Bro,
one?
all of them.
Yeah, be like the Pharaoh. Listen to your dreams. Is that it, guys? Is that all we have to say? I think we're at about an hour.
We got a little bit plus. I mean,
I'll probably edit out all the boring stuff, so
yeah. So
that's a show.
is that the show on dreams? I mean, we could like.
No,
No.
I'm leaving.
All right.
We're like,
No sort of techniques for flying. Techniques for flying in dreams.
We can do techniques for flying in dreams if you can belt it before it closes at 9.
Yeah. So start with just trying to like.
I don't know how to
climb.
fly in no dream.
Yeah. So start with just trying to climb in the air. You'll see it's kind of like a stair stepper.
Like you
At
just start
first.
climbing into the air.
Yeah, you'll start feeling like it's a stair stepper. Like you'll get an initial go, and then you'll start to sink down. But
Well,
just keep trying at it.
What
You
if
know, that's how the Chinese believe that you learn how to fly in the real world too. It's just like stepping on air. Just use your brain to believe that the air is like stone you can step on. And then
Oh.
you step
Try
up.
In Shaolin, we have light training where we're using meditation to like, feel subjectively lighter.
Hmm.
And there's like basically like the 4 complementary ones. So there's light,
Can you use
heavy,
your dreams to train?
cold. Oh, I've done like kung fu in my dreams before. It's cool.
I know the Blue Angels sort of do that. Like before they go and do one of their air shows, they sit and they close their eyes and they go through their whole show in their imagination first.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Like all together, like all at the same time. They're like, turn left, do this, do that, and they'd go through the entire
That would
thing.
have been great for their remote viewing episode.
Yeah, it would have. But these two topics are related, and we sort of just mashed sigils in the middle there, which I think our audience was a little confused about. We sort of jumped in on the deep end with the magic there. It would have been better to do this episode first, but hey, we already said that. So
Anyone
Yeah.
remember what our sigil looks like?
yeah,
Yeah? Draw it from memory. Oh, you suck. You have it right
yeah,
there.
because I need to make it like big and do it justice.
Yeah.
It's just I got most of the mural done I was working on this week, so there, I did something this week. I did something.
Dumbledore
I
clap.
did a thing. Yes, Dumbledore clap. Well, that's everybody. Thank you for tuning into The Whole Rabbit as Rona offered me this famous wisdom. Eat carrots, shoot lasers.
Eat carrots, shoot lasers.
Hell
All
yeah.
right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.